The sun beat down on the cobblestone streets of Strasbourg. It was July 1518, and the air was thick with the scent of baking bread and fresh flowers. Merchants hawked their wares in the marketplace, their voices a familiar hum against the backdrop of the city's bustling activity. Strasbourg, a thriving city in the Holy Roman Empire, was a place of commerce and culture. Situated on the banks of the River Ill, its streets were a testament to its prosperity. The city pulsed with life, its inhabitants going about their daily routines, unaware of the strange events that were about to unfold. The peace of that summer day was about to be shattered. An inexplicable phenomenon was about to grip the city, one that would leave its mark on history. It began quietly, almost unnoticed. A lone woman, Frau Trophäa, stepped into the street and began to dance. Her steps were erratic, her face contorted in a grimace. Passers-by paused, their curiosity piqued by the strange spectacle unfolding before them. As Frau Trophäa continued her relentless dance, others started to join her. One by one, people felt an irresistible urge to mimic her frantic movements. The music was the sound of their own pounding feet against the cobblestones. The streets of Strasbourg now echoed with the eerie cacophony of dozens of people dancing uncontrollably. What began as a curious spectacle quickly transformed into a public health crisis. The dancers, consumed by their inexplicable need to move, were oblivious to the world around them. They danced until their bodies gave out, collapsing in exhaustion only to rise again. The city's physicians were baffled, theories abounded, yet none could explain the strange phenomenon. The situation grew increasingly dire as the days turned into weeks. Fear and confusion spread through the city like wildfire. The authorities, desperate to regain control, sought answers from every conceivable source. The dancing plague, as it came to be known, defied all logic and reason. By the end of July, the number of dancers in Strasbourg had swelled to over 40. The epicenter of this bizarre outbreak was the fish market, a large open square in the heart of the city. Men and women, young and old, danced with wild abandon, their movements seemingly dictated by an unseen force. As the days turned into weeks, the intensity of the dancing only seemed to increase. Their bodies, pushed beyond their limits, began to show signs of extreme fatigue. Yet, they continued to dance, their movements becoming increasingly erratic and uncontrolled. The city authorities, initially dismissive of the strange behavior, were forced to take action as the number of dancers continued to grow. The city council convened emergency meetings to discuss the crisis. Theories were put forward, debated, and ultimately discarded as the council struggled to comprehend the situation. The plight of the dancers was a sorry one. Driven by an irresistible urge to dance, they were unable to stop, their bodies and minds held captive by the mysterious affliction. Many were gripped by hallucinations, their minds conjuring strange and terrifying visions as they danced. Desperate for a cure, the city authorities turned to a variety of sources. Physicians employed a range of treatments, from bloodletting and purging to administering herbal remedies. Yet, despite their best efforts, nothing seemed to work. In the fervent religious climate of 16th century Europe, it was perhaps inevitable that the citizens of Strasbourg would turn to the heavens for an explanation for the dancing plague. The Church, a powerful force in both spiritual and secular matters, held sway over the hearts and minds of the people. One name in particular was on the lips of the frightened populace, St. Vitus. A Christian martyr from the 4th century, St. Vitus was believed to hold dominion over ailments that caused seizures, epilepsy, and uncontrollable dancing. Shrines dedicated to St. Vitus became places of pilgrimage, drawing in the afflicted and desperate, all seeking a reprieve from the saint's wrath. Priests led processions through the streets of Strasbourg, their voices raised in prayer, beseeching the saint to lift the curse from their city. While the religious explanation offered solace to some, Others sought a more earthly explanation for the dancing plague. Physicians began to explore alternative theories. One theory that gained traction centered on the possibility of ergot poisoning. Ergot, a fungus that grows on rye and other grains, was a known problem in medieval Europe. Its consumption could lead to a range of debilitating symptoms, including hallucinations and convulsions. The link between ergot poisoning and the dancing plague seemed plausible. However, the ergot theory was not without its critics. As the dancing plague continued to grip Strasbourg, some began to suspect that the root of the affliction lay in the realm of the mind. The theory of mass hysteria gained traction as a possible explanation. Proponents argued that the stressful conditions of the time, coupled with the power of suggestion, had created a perfect storm for an outbreak of mass psychogenic illness. Despite the various theories put forward, the dancing plague of 1518 remains a perplexing and enduring mystery. Each explanation offers a tantalizing glimpse into the possible causes of this strange affliction. Yet, none can fully explain the events that unfolded in Strasbourg that summer. The dancing plague continues to fascinate and intrigue us centuries later. The dancing plague of 1518 rapidly evolved into a full-blown social crisis for Strasbourg. The once bustling marketplace, now a stage for the macabre dance, lay eerily deserted. Merchants, fearing for their safety and unable to conduct business, shuttered their shops. The city's normally efficient infrastructure began to crumble under the strain of the plague. The streets, usually kept meticulously clean, overflowed with refuse. The social harmony that once characterized Strasbourg was shattered, replaced by an undercurrent of fear, uncertainty, and suspicion. The city council, initially slow to react, found themselves overwhelmed by the escalating crisis. Their attempts to impose order on the chaotic situation proved largely ineffective. Proclamations were issued, urging citizens to remain calm and tend to their duties, but such pleas fell on deaf ears. The plague, seemingly impervious to reason or authority, continued its relentless march. Desperate for a solution, the council enacted increasingly drastic measures. Public gatherings were banned, in an attempt to curb the perceived contagious nature of the dancing. Musicians were forbidden from playing, based on the observation that the tempo of the dancing seemed to escalate with music. Some officials, subscribing to the theory of demonic possession, even advocated for harsh punishments, believing that physical pain might drive out the evil spirits they believed were responsible. However, such measures only served to exacerbate the situation. Driving the dancers indoors did little to stop the frenzy, merely shifting the spectacle behind closed doors. The constant drumming of feet against wooden floors served as a constant, unsettling reminder of the crisis gripping the city. The council, their authority waning, found themselves caught between a desperate need to act and a profound lack of understanding about the nature of the crisis they faced. With the city council powerless to stop the dancing plague, the people of Strasbourg turned to the church, their last hope in a world turned upside down. The church responded with compassion and pragmatism, recognizing the threat to its authority. Daily processions with relics of St. Vitus wound through the streets, their chants contrasting the dancing. Shrines were erected, altars laden with offerings from desperate citizens pleading for deliverance. The church encouraged displays of piety, hoping to channel fear into order and healing. They also established makeshift hospitals in guild halls and churches. These spaces offered sanctuary and care for the afflicted. The church's intervention provided comfort and support for a city on the brink of collapse. The dancing plague of 1518 exacted a heavy toll on Strasbourg. The relentless dancing pushed the human body to its limit. Chroniclers spoke of individuals collapsing in the streets, ravaged by exhaustion and injuries. Broken bones and severe bruising were commonplace. The constant friction left many with worn-out shoes and exposed flesh. The physical suffering was compounded by the psychological toll. Hallucinations and terror left many emotionally scarred. The precise number of those who perished remains debated. Some accounts speak of hundreds succumbing, others suggest fewer. The human cost transcended mere mortality. Strasbourg's social fabric, torn apart by fear and suspicion, took years to recover. The dancing plague of 1518 served as a stark reminder of the fragility of civilization. As the relentless heat of summer began to wane, so too did the grip of the dancing plague on Strasbourg. What began as a trickle, a few dancers succumbing to exhaustion or perhaps a glimmer of returning sanity, gradually swelled into a steady stream. The relentless rhythm that had held the city captive for weeks slowly faltered, replaced by an eerie silence, punctuated by the groans of the injured and the whispers of the bewildered. Theories abound regarding the sudden abatement of the dancing plague. Some attributed it to the tireless efforts of the church, their prayers and processions finally appeasing the wrath of St. Vitus. Others pointed to the changing season, the cooler temperatures offering respite from the oppressive heat that had fueled the dancers' frenzy. Whatever the cause, the city of Strasbourg, battered and bewildered, began the arduous task of healing and rebuilding. The makeshift hospitals, once overflowing with the afflicted, slowly emptied, their patients returning to lives irrevocably altered by their ordeal. The streets, once echoing with the cacophony of uncontrolled movement, gradually came back to life, albeit with a cautious, hesitant energy. The merchants, their livelihoods disrupted, tentatively reopened their stalls, their faces etched with a mixture of hope and lingering anxiety. The dancing plague of 1518, though receding from public memory as quickly as it had emerged, left an indelible mark on the historical record. Chroniclers of the time, struggling to comprehend the events they had witnessed, filled their accounts with a mixture of factual detail and superstitious speculation. Their writings, passed down through the centuries, have provided historians and scientists with a tantalizing glimpse into this bizarre chapter of human history. Yet, despite centuries of scrutiny and speculation, the dancing plague of 1518 remains an enigma, a perplexing puzzle with no definitive solution. Theories abound, each offering a plausible, albeit incomplete, explanation for the events in Strasbourg. Ergot poisoning, with its documented ability to induce hallucinations and seizures, remains a strong contender. Mass hysteria, fueled by fear, religious fervor, and the power of suggestion, offers another compelling, albeit equally unprovable, explanation. The dancing plague of 1518, much like the human mind itself, resists easy categorization, a stark reminder of the limits of our understanding of the world around us. The dancing plague of 1518 offers a unique lens to examine the human condition. It reveals the balance between the rational and irrational, the individual and collective. It confronts the fragility of social order and the power of fear. The dancing plague reminds us of our resilience and vulnerability. It compels us to ask, how would we react to the inexplicable? Is the line between sanity and madness clear? The dancing plague, a dark mirror, haunts us with questions. It reminds us of our emotional nature and the allure of the unknown. The dancing plague of 1518 is a timeless reminder of the human spirit's complexity. The dancing plague of 1518, despite receding into the mists of time, continues to captivate and intrigue us. It stands as a stark reminder of the mysteries that still linger in the shadows of our understanding. It challenges our assumptions about the nature of disease, the power of the mind, and the fragility of the social order. While modern science may offer plausible explanations, the true cause of this bizarre phenomenon remains elusive. Was it a physiological ailment, a psychological contagion, or a manifestation of social and religious anxieties? Perhaps the answer lies in a confluence of factors, a perfect storm of circumstances that ignited a collective dance of despair. The dancing plague of 1518, a chilling yet captivating enigma, continues to whisper its secrets across the centuries, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown and the boundless capacity of the human spirit to both endure and confound. Though the dancers have long since fallen silent, their story continues to echo through time, a haunting reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden within the depths of human experience.